How's it going, my evil residents? Today, I'm going to take a look at some of your hot takes about Resident Evil 5, and I'm going to determine how hot they are, how spicy they are, based on this meter up at the top of the screen. At the bottom, you have nitrogen rounds. This take was so cold, so common, that it literally froze me solid. You get flash rounds for ones that stunned me, blinded me a little bit, but aren't too exciting. Electric rounds for ones that are shocking, but not overly crazy. Flame rounds, your average hot take. Pretty hot, but nothing groundbreaking. Explosive rounds, you're pushing it a little bit. You might be starting a little bit of a fight, but no wars are breaking out over this. And an acid rounds take is one so hot it literally boiled all of my skin off. If you want your hot takes prioritized for these hot takes videos, memberships just start at 99 cents. I won't plug it any more than that. No pressure. But yeah, let's get right into the video. Our first hot take is from a Dark Trooper. Best setting in the series, I wish we got more game. I also wish there were more guns and it was closer to RE8 than 4, like a hub world with different sections. This one, I think I'm gonna put this in flame rounds, because I have seen this before semi-often, especially with people talking about like how they would change an RE5 remake to like make the settings seem like a more unified location like RE4 remake does, to make it a little more open world and set it in like one larger area or like a couple of medium-sized areas. I've seen this before a lot, and I'm not totally sure how I feel about it. It is a little bit of a hot take because I feel like a lot of RE5 fans that like it for its action elements really like the linear level design, because it kind of scratches the same itch as like a stylish action game does, of getting through the arena as cleanly and as quickly as possible with the highest grade you can. At least that's the enjoyment I get out of it. It scratches the same itch for me as something like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta or Nier Automata does. Less so Nier Automata, that kind of scratches a different itch, but you know, similar kind of thing. And I feel like people that want it to be a like hub world with sections and stuff, they just kind of want a different thing from the game than it's supposed to be presenting, which is totally fine, because most other Resident Evil games give these people what they're asking for. Resident Evil 5 is very much an outlier in that respect with Resident Evil games, where it's very linear, very like time trial, replay, action based. The others are kind of like that too, but it's more so like a post-game challenge. It's not the main gameplay. So I get where they're coming from. I'm not going to quite say I agree, but I am going to say that I understand. And I would be completely fine if they went this direction with an RE5 remake, especially since RE5 exists as it does, and I can always go back and play that if I want to. It's not going anywhere, so yeah, I would be totally fine with this. I'm not super eager about it, but I would be fine with it. That would be a nice change for a remake. Our next hot take is from Rosemary. Sheva was underutilized in the story. She doesn't really have a villain because Excella shows up for like 6 scenes, and it's mainly about Chris's story of getting over Jill's death, when I feel like Sheva should have been the main focus but have Chris as the backup character. This one, I don't see it too often, but most people, when they talk about the story of this game, just kind of gas up the Chris and Wesker dynamic. So I'm actually going to put this in electric rounds. I got a few comments about this. There was one person that commented it twice on 2 different posts. I almost put it in. This one kind of got it more succinctly than that person did, so I put this one in. If you're watching this video, you know who you are. Feel free to leave another comment. I'm so sorry. I cannot remember your username off the top of my head. You have like a yellow and blue profile picture. Anyways, that has nothing to do with the video. I 100,000% agree. I talk about this a little bit more in my RE5 iceberg, but Sheva has so much unique lore that no other Resident Evil character has. She was like a child guerrilla soldier that was a freedom fighter against capitalistic companies from other countries coming into Africa and basically gentrifying it and or using its land and resources for profit and pushing out the natives. That's what she did. She's such a cool and unique character, especially for the Resident Evil series. In something like an action game, she might not be as unique of a character, but within Resident Evil, there's no other character like Sheva at all. And the actual story of the game does nothing with that. The most you get is Sheva saying, "This is my country. I want to protect it." And it's like, okay, yeah. I mean, I think most people would, even if, they weren't a child soldier that spent their entire life fighting greedy corporations that were trying to take over their land. And that's literally what Wesker and Excella are fucking doing in the game. And they do nothing with that at all. It kind of loosely explains why Sheva goes with Chris, because this is what she's used to doing. This is what she's just fine with. She normally does stuff like this. But the game doesn't tell you that. You have to dig to find this information and then like peel it out of the 3-sentence paragraph about Sheva that's in the files in the main menu that you don't get in game. It's ridiculous. They wasted that so much, and I know it's partially a result of Sheva being added after Chris when the game was like halfway through development. People say she was a last minute addition. That's not quite true. They reworked the whole game to fit her in, and like the game went through rewrites and rebuilds and stuff like that. It wasn't just like slap a co-op character on there and spank it out the door. No, it wasn't like that. It was not like that. But yeah, this is 100% true. I feel like people that like the game's story know this. And as someone who is a Chris Glazer, I love Chris. A lot of Chris Glazers will just completely ignore Sheva, just like the main story does, because the main story that exists in the game is good. It just would be made a little bit better if, to kind of meet the other side of the personal Chris and Wesker dynamic, you had the one-sided dynamic of Sheva hating Excella and Excella being like, "I don't know who the fuck you are. What are you doing? Who are you? Get out of my house." That type of a dynamic, but there's just nothing. There's just nothing there at all. Anyway, I've been rambling about this one a lot, but I feel very passionately about it. So, yeah, this one's just true. Our next hot take is from the Epic Rager. I've never really gotten the hate behind the RE5 character AI. Yeah, it's annoying, but its problems are easily circumventable. If you don't want your partner to heal you after every minor occurrence, just keep the heals in your inventory. Okay, I'm going to put this one in flame rounds as well, because I feel like people who are very used to RE5 just like know how to deal with Sheva. People who are new to RE5 or like played it twice or like 3 or 4 times, like 5-10 years ago, it just kind of gets ingrained in their head that the AI sucks. The AI doesn't suck. It's just very simple. And people also don't make use of the guard and attack mechanic that the AI has. You can send Sheva to attack and she won't steal your herbs anymore. She will be actively fighting more enemies, and it's very rare that she gets attacked while doing that. You kind of have to give her the right weapons for the right situation, but that's part of meeting the simple AI halfway. I do wish the AI was better, or at least they were better at explaining to you how to utilize it properly, because the AI, like I said, it's not overtly bad. It's just too simple for a game that has somewhat complex systems that require something a little more robust or more teaching for the player. And it's missing either of those elements, and that's why people hate the AI so much. Another thing that makes the AI feel a lot worse than it actually is most everything being a one-hit kill in professional mode. On lower difficulties, when Sheva can... I always say Sheva like she's like the only AI, when Chris can be the AI and they have the same, like, they have the same code. When the AI takes a hit in professional, they die in one hit. But on lower difficulties, the AI has more leniency and can take a couple of hits, so it's not a big deal at all. And this game gives you a pretty good amount of herbs, so it's not the biggest deal. And you can buy first aid sprays whenever you want, so it's like whatever. But anyone who goes for a professional run solo goes through an arc of hating the character AI until they get really good at the game. And I honestly 100% understand that, because the character AI is not balanced for solo professional mode. at all. Like, I will defend the AI in this game for a lot. But specifically, if you're doing solo professional, God help you if you're doing it with the AI. God help you, dude. It's a pain. You have to really be on top of managing the AI and know how to work it properly. It's a lot. So I understand both sides of it. I just wish the game was a little better at either teaching or making it a little, just a little bit better. Just like a little bit. This next hot take is from JW Hand. He commented like 12 hot takes. And buddy, just because you put 12 hot takes in one message doesn't make it one giant hot take. It makes it 12 small hot takes. You can't cheat the system. I know what you're trying to do, buddy. Okay? I know what you're trying to do. You can't cheat the system. You can't just Trojan horse multiple hot takes into one hot take. RE5 is too generous to players. Its economy is basically broken. I think there should be half as many free guns in the campaign, and pretty much everything in the shop should have been doubled in price except the upgrade costs. Yes, I know this would make 100% all gun upgrades more tedious. Maybe make pro money times 3 instead of times 2. To be completely honest, as someone that has like 2,000 handgun bullets in this game that I have never touched in years, I kind of agree. I kind of agree. Yeah. I think what they could do, the thing about the upgrade cost for the weapons, it's not necessarily the price of them, it's that there's so fucking many of them. And I don't mean amount of guns, I mean amount of upgrade levels. Each weapon has like 15 to 20 upgrade levels that go from like 1 to 20,000 depending on the gun. It's like, why is there so many? And that's like per row. That's not like for the whole gun, that's per row. So you might have to upgrade something like 30 to 40 fucking times. And it's like, why? I'm over exaggerating a little bit, but it's way more than it was in like Resident Evil 4 or in RE Village. It's way more than it is in those games. And it's like, why is it like that? Especially when the prices are the same. Like, what's with the inflation, Capcom, huh? What's with the inflation? So I think to fix the upgrade thing, literally just cut the amount of upgrades you need in half and the grind is fixed. 100%. Because what makes it take so fucking long is that there's just so many stages that all cost like 500 coins more than the previous one. And it's like, just stop. This is too much. Going back to the actual item drops though. The item drop system in this game is really weird because it drops items depending on what you have. So, and players tend to, at least from what I've seen with people playing this game, pick a few weapons they like and only use those. Like, people will always bring a handgun, they'll pick a shotgun or an SMG they like, and then they'll either pick a sniper or a heavy weapon. And they will decide between, or like a sniper or a magnum. And they will just kind of only get ammo for those guns besides the few fixed spawn points. So then they just have an exorbitant amount of ammo for those guns because they're the only ones they use. I know because this happens to me a lot. Everyone I know that plays this game a lot, they have a fuck ton of ammo for the guns they use and not as much for other guns. Like, I don't use snipers too much in this game. Like, I use them significantly, mostly with infinite ammo on because they're more fun with infinite ammo on. And because I've played this game a million freaking times. So I have less sniper ammo than I do any other weapon category because I use all of those more. So the game drops more of it. And then this just kind of stacks on itself to make it to where, like, my inventory in this game is full. I cannot buy any more items. I cannot get any more items. It's literally impossible. Like, they didn't account for people playing this game like 30 times and just having an ass ton of handgun ammo and stuff like that. It's hilarious. So I do kind of agree that it's too generous, but it depends a lot on how you play the game. If you're someone that hops around between different guns it's going to feel a lot different to you. Or if you play it in co-op, it's going to feel a lot different than it does if you're playing solo. The game gives too many items for solo because people say Sheva wastes ammo, but she doesn't waste that much ammo, especially if you take the tip of her only using one gun. She's only going to waste ammo for one gun, and you get a ton of ammo for probably 3 other types of guns in your whole playthrough. And because you're always giving Sheva that gun, you're not going to get as many drops for the ammo for that one because it prioritizes your ammo drops. And then, like I said, it snowballs. So it depends a lot on how you play. Most people play the game solo, so that's why the ammo economy is too generous, because it combines with that and then the tip of giving Sheva just like one type of weapon. So yeah, I agree with you. It does need rebalancing if they remake the game, but it also depends what kind of player you are. I don't think I gave this one a spot on the thing. I'm going to give it explosive rounds tier because I hear nobody talk about this literally ever. And this is the first time I've heard literally anyone else mention it. So yeah, I'm going to put it in explosive rounds tier. Our next hot take is from Morena Prime. The 9-slot inventory system is more strategic than any of the briefcase, item box, HUD, or drop item systems, which in a primarily action game pulls back the player from annihilating any chance of difficulty on normal like it was in RE6. The game being built in chapters also allows for the player to organize and strategize based on their own opinion of how difficult they expect the next chapter to be, unlike in RE4R where I found myself never using the typewriter storage. So I'm having trouble telling if you are saying the 9-slot inventory system being more strategic is good or bad. I think it's fine for an action-based Resident Evil game. I think it makes the game better. If you had a more clunky inventory system, the game wouldn't be as fun and as smooth to play, which I think should be the priority for a mainly action game. I think what you're saying is it makes the game too easy. I think it depends. It depends how much you want to pick up every item that you see. Like if you want to pick up all the weapons, all the grenades, all your herbs, and you don't want to mix them until you get to the shop later, all that kind of stuff, you're going to struggle with the inventory system. If you're playing with a partner, I think the inventory system is really fun and it adds a lot of strategy, especially like on higher difficulties, especially the inventory system shines where there's fewer items and enemies take more damage because you're cycling through the slots more, you're interacting with it more, but not too much to the point where it's like draining on the action. So I think on easier difficulties, I agree. However, on easier difficulties for RE4 and RE4R, the briefcase can be just as annoying as the 9-slot inventory system because your briefcase can just be full all the time, and it's kind of annoying. That it happens on most Resident Evil games where there's just too much shit on the floor for lower difficulties. If you're like semi good at the game, no hate to people that like are like new to the game or are just not used to the game. No hate, of course. But if you're an experienced player playing on easy, you're going to use less items. So the difficulty isn't balanced for your skill level. So the inventory isn't going to work for you. Like I think that works for any Resident Evil game. I'm having trouble ranking this one because I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Like if you are saying this like positively or negatively. But I do hear a lot that the 9-slot inventory system is very strategic and fun to use. So on that basis, I think I'm going to put this in flash rounds. However, if you're saying it's bad for all these reasons, I would move it up to explosive rounds nearly instantly, because I've never heard someone say that it being more strategic is bad. I don't know. You saying it's more strategic than the briefcase, I do think is a hot take. I'm biased though, because I totally agree with you. I think the briefcase in RE4 Remake is a little more strategic because you can do the slots and the typewriter thing. But in the original RE4, I think the RE5 inventory is just more strategic overall and fits the action vibe way better than the briefcase does. But that's that could be its own video. That's a whole separate case to unpack, if you will. So I might talk about that in another video. If you want that to be a standalone video, let me know. But yeah, this one, depending on if you mean this positively or negatively, it's either flash rounds or explosive rounds. Our next hot take is from Ashley Carolyn. Not really sure if this is an unpopular opinion, but I believe RE5 has the hardest to deal with enemies, excluding boss battles, out of all the action-heavy Resident Evil games. Although they are not hard to kill, such as the Reaper and all the different types of Magini, choosing the wrong weapon or getting backed into a corner can become deadly for the player. I would especially say this about the Reaper, Executioner Magini, Duvalia, and the Blob enemy in the DLC, who have either powerful attacks or insta-kill moves. I'd probably say RE5 is the hardest enemies out of all the games, but to be fair, I've played RE0, 1, and Code Veronica. Okay. Off rip, Code Veronica's enemies are way more annoying. Like, the Bandersnatch alone, and those fucking moths, no. I don't want to deal with those ever again. RE0 also has those monkey enemies that are really annoying. I don't think they're that bad. I think people overblow how annoying they are. And then you get the Mimicry Marcus in RE0. Those piss me off. Most of them you can run past, but some of them you can't, and I just hate them. I don't quite agree with you. I do think this is an unpopular opinion, though. Actually, no. No, I hear people complain about the enemies in this game a lot. So, I'm going to put this in electric rounds. Kind of in the middle. Yeah, I think electric rounds is good for this one. But I think RE6 has way more annoying enemies than this game does. You don't get the amount of feedback you do in RE5 with the enemies. Like, in RE6, you don't get that. The enemies just kind of stand there and take your hits most of the time, especially on higher difficulties. It does depend what weapons you're using, but enemies are more likely to react to your shots in this game than they are in RE6. In RE6, it's easier to get stun locked. You can't really get stun locked in this game because once you're like in an animation, they can't grab you and stuff like that, which is very nice. In RE6, that's not as much of a thing. And when you're getting knocked down and getting back up, you can still get hit by stuff, which is really annoying. And then healing takes forever in that game. So it's just annoying. RE6, when it stun locks you over and over again, especially on higher difficulties. It's such a pain in the ass, especially when the enemies do a ton of damage. Oh my god. So I get what you're saying, but I still think RE6 enemies are just a little bit more annoying. Just a little bit. Like, they're not all of them are harder to kill, but just the stun locking that's going on in RE6 is crazy. Like, it's not very common to get stun locked in RE5. It's more common to get stun locked in RE4 remake than it is in RE5. That game is stun lock city, let's be real. But RE6 is the stun lock king. Like, oh my goodness. Plus, you get that knockdown mechanic that it doesn't teach you how to use, where if you time your A button right, you can just immediately get back up, but the game never tells you this. And it makes the game feel even more sluggish, and just that game just doesn't teach you anything about how it actually works, and it makes the game just feel worse in every way. But that's another topic for another video. So yeah, this one gets electric rounds tier, I think I said, and that sounds right. Next up from Berry Delight, the eggs are the best weapon in the game. Truth nuke, my friend. Truth nuke. Eggs are top tier. Golden egg, kill everything. Rotten egg, rage bait everything. This is just true. This isn't even a take. This is just a fact. Our next hot take is from Disabled Sean. Lost in Nightmares aged very, very poorly. I think players were so desperate to have RE be horror again that they mistook table scraps for prime rib. Yet Capcom still learned nothing from its success. Sideways, laughing, crying emoji. Let's put in the itchy tasty journal for no reason. They'll eat it right up. Anyways, for the next game, let's have Wesker's estranged son outrun an avalanche on a snowmobile. Yeah, I get what you mean. It feels kind of similar to me as, how do I explain this in a way that isn't gonna make Lost in Nightmares fans rip me into 5 different pieces and draw and quarter me and crucify me upside down in the comments? How do I word this? It's giving Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City in the same way that it takes the elements of the horror of Resident Evil without the sauce, the atmosphere, the vibes, or the energy It just takes the look and the iconography, throws into a blender, and then makes you run from giant axe wielding maniacs for 5 minutes. Unless you're playing on professional, in which case it's just an action DLC again. But yeah, I 100% agree with this. And I'm gonna put this in acid rounds tier. I've never heard anyone talk about this before, literally ever, until I posted these hot take things. There was a couple of comments about this, but given that they're the only comments I have ever seen about Lost in Nightmares aging poorly, yeah, I think that's true. People don't really talk about Lost in Nightmares anymore. People don't like make fun of it. They just don't talk about it anymore. And Resident Evil successfully went back to horror and refound that magic again that it had with horror, and has struck that balance again, even in its action entries, that it just makes Lost in Nightmares more like them still trying to figure that out, or like not quite getting it. So I think this is true. This is I do think it's an acid rounds tier take though. Like I said, I've never heard anyone say this, but yeah, I think this is true. Our next hot take is from Nominal Inhaler. RE5 is the best game in the franchise and doesn't need a remake until the older entries are remade. This one I'm going to put in electric rounds tier because it's half true, half like very opinion based. As someone whose favorite Resident Evil game is Resident Evil 5, I don't think it's the best Resident Evil game. I just don't. It's my favorite Resident Evil game, but I am hard pressed to say it's the best one, because its story, while good, kind of doesn't make 100% sense. It makes leaps in Wesker's character. There's gaps in Chris's character from last we saw him. Sheva is very underused. Josh is underused. It has its issues. It drags in some spots. It condenses most of the story down to like the last 2 chapters. It's a messy game, 100%. But oh my god, it's so fun. It's so fun. I love this game. It's so good. But it is a messy game. I'm not gonna say it's the best one. No Resident Evil game has an Oscar-winning story. Literally none of them. But RE5 is far from the best story, and I think it's heavily carried by its gameplay. And even then, I still think the gameplay could be like a little bit better, but that's another topic for another day. As for you saying it doesn't need a remake until the older entries are remade, bang on the money, 100% true. The gameplay holds up so well. The graphics hold up so well. The art direction, everything about the game just holds up really, really well, except for Barry Burton's one of his takedown moves in Mercenaries. Except for that doesn't hold up well. If you know, you know. If you've watched the melee moves ranked for RE5 Mercenaries video, if you haven't watched that, go watch that. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, I don't think RE5 needs a remake. When they teased RE5 remake at the end of RE4 remake, I was like, why? It doesn't need to really be remade? You can just kind of go right into it from this game? And I still stand by that. I still am like, I'd rather see Zero remade, Code Veronica remade, Outbreak remade. I'd rather see another remake of RE1 in the RE engine that's like first person or third person or whatever before an RE5 remake. Genuinely. Like, I really don't think that game needs a remake, because it's in the HD era enough and doesn't need as much of a gameplay facelift as the other ones do to be accessible to what more modern gamers are used to. So I think I 100% agree with that. People are about 50-50 on that. I'm going to put this one in electric rounds, because no, I'm going to put it in flame rounds. I'm putting a lot of them in electric rounds. I'm going to put it in flame rounds. It's about 50-50 with hot takes. The hotter take here is saying it's the best game. The colder take here is saying that it doesn't need a remake. I hear that all the time. But people saying RE5 is the best game, people are coming around to it, but it's still not the most popular to say it's like the best game. And I don't think that's even objectively true. So yeah, I think Flame Rounds is good for this one. Next up, from the Guru Bubble. The Chapter 5-3 sequence against Wesker and Jill is simultaneously the silliest yet most hype boss fight in the franchise. Best 7 minutes out there. As someone that really likes this fight, it's a little bit poorly designed. I love it. I ranked it as like the best boss fight in my RE5 bosses ranked video. Go check that out. But I mostly ranked it that high because it's fun. But if you're trying to actually play it and just like get through it, especially on professional, oh man, this boss fight is kind of a mess mechanically. It's not explained well how Wesker loses sight of you. If you get shot once, you just die. Especially, it's especially annoying when you're fighting Jill. Holy fuck, when you're just fighting Jill, she can literally just gun you down and you're gone. Yeah, it's I agree with this because it doesn't seem like Guru Bubble is talking about this mechanically. So I'm just gonna say this is true and give it a nitrogen rounds because I think everyone agrees with this. I think most people agree it's hype, even if they don't actually enjoy the fight. They do agree that it's a hype moment. It has lots of hype moments in Aura. Our next hot take is from Tom Nitch. RE5 is the best arsenal of weaponry in the franchise. They put a lot of effort into the visuals and sounds of each weapon, and there's something for everyone in each firearm category. Having two characters lets you create different loadout synergies. The unlockable bonus weapons are fun rewards that make collecting all the treasures worthwhile. Also, it's one of the best renditions of the grenade launcher that give us the different hot takes tiers. True. I love the RE5 grenade launcher. I scrapped a video a while ago where I was just talking about the RE5 grenade launcher for like 20 minutes. And it was fun to record, but it just kind of felt like a redundant video that didn't need to be made. If you want me to make that video, I guess let me know in the comments. I would be down to make it if you guys are interested. I still have the script and the notes and stuff like that. I would just need to get some new footage because I changed how I record my footage, so it's a little higher quality and stuff like that. And then I would need to record a new voiceover because the last one was with voiceover from how I used to record my stuff, which sounded really bad. And anyways, for the actual hot take, 100% agree. With an asterisk, I do think the handguns, the two middle tier handguns, are too similar. I wish they were a little bit more different. We don't have a Red 9 equivalent. And before you say, but the M93R is the Red 9 equivalent. No, it's not. It's literally just not. It's the Matilda equivalent. Just make one of the handguns a little different, and then we're cooking. We're good. Like, it doesn't have to be dramatically more different. Just make it lean into its niche a little more. Like, one of them is quite the penetrator. The other, it just does good damage. And, but it's not as big of a difference between the two. I've tested this so many times, especially lately because I also scrapped a video comparing all the handguns in the game. It was a little boring, so I just didn't make it. But the two handguns tested almost exactly the same, despite them having two completely different abilities. So it's like, okay, what's the point? Just make them a little more different. Same thing with the two final assault rifles and the L-Hawk and the S&W, the small one. They're just a little too similar, like a little bit too similar. Just make them a little bit more different and we're good. One thing about Village that I like in that game is not necessarily the progression of the weapons, but the visual distinctions of the weapons and the later game weapons serving completely different roles. I really like that. And this game kind of has that too, but I wish that would kind of flow down more into the middle tier weapons. Because in RE5, all of the first round of weapons you get, all very unique and fun. Second round, kind of either similar to one you get later or one before. And also, the Ithaca and the M3 are just the same, except the M3 does more damage and does slightly less damage, but has a tighter cone, so it feels like it does more damage. I should word it like that because that's how it actually works. And yeah, I think I've made my point with this one. I agree. I just wish they were a little bit more different. There's still a little bit of room to improve with this one. I'm gonna put this in Flame Rounds tier. I never hear anyone talk about this, but also never hear anyone say it has a bad arsenal, like, ever. Like, this game has a bow and arrow and a minigun for you to use, and it brought us the holy stun rod. Like, hello, what more do you want? It also has unique weapons and mercenaries. I know that RE4 also had one, but this one has at least 3, so hey, that's freaking awesome. Our last hot take of the video is from Xavier Colon. Soldier Magini are not as annoying as people claim they are. The tribal Magini are actually some of the most annoying enemies in the game with their constant acrobatic moves and Plaga spawning. As someone that uses the grenade launcher, I love all the Plaga spam. I freaking love all the Plaga spam. Hit them with the flash rounds, they're cooked. Literally. They're literally cooked because they're weak to flash rounds. I agree. However, it's the Soldier Magini that are fully armored that piss me the fuck off. Because the whole point of the game is you exploit a weak point, you suplex them, and then you move on. If the enemy is armored from head to toe, it's basically saying no. You can't engage in the gameplay loop. Fuck you. Just gun me down as a bullet sponge. It's like, why? Why is that? That's not fun. That defeats the whole point of the game. Like, you built the game around this mechanic, and then you make an enemy that's just like, no, don't do the mechanic. Just shoot me. It's like, why? I don't know. I don't understand games that do shit like that. But, and it's one of the only enemies in the game that's like that. Even the bosses have weak points that you can aim at. But, like, the fully armored ones, they're just fully armored. You just gotta either have a piercing weapon or get behind them, which I guess is exposing a weak point, but not really, because all the weak points are covered in armor. Anyways, I'm over explaining this. I agree. I'm kind of biased to lean towards the Soldier Magini being more annoying just because I use the grenade launcher all the time. More Soldier Magini are immune to the grenade launcher and regular bullet weapons and melee weapons than the acrobatic Magini are. It is hard to perform the melee moves on them, but you still can. You just have to use a little bit higher power weaponry or be really quick with it. But I see why someone would say this. I'm going to put it in explosive rounds here. I hear people complain about the Soldier Magini all the time, but I don't really hear people complain about the Tribal Magini. So I'm going to put this one in explosive rounds here. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, drop a like. If you disliked it, feel free to dislike it, but please do let me know why down in the comments so I can make my videos as good as possible. I am running a sale right now on all of the merchandise on my channel. It's all 10% off for all of October for Spooky October month, Halloween month. I also made these 2 shirts, my main 2 epic ones that I designed in collaboration with Demento Artworks on Twitter. I added 2 new Halloween colors for these and pink for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. If you buy this shirt in pink, all the profits from it, I will be donating all that money. So if you want to get these shirts, all these awesome colors are available to you. If you want to help out charity, you can also get a pink one. We do also have channel memberships on the channel. If you would like to get priority feature and hot takes videos, get access to monthly member exclusive tier lists, or request a video, there are multiple tiers available to you starting at just 99 cents. But again, no pressure for any of that stuff, just liking, commenting, even just watching the video. If you clicked on this video just to check it out, I appreciate you very, very much. Hope you stick around to help to get to 10,000 subscribers, but if not, happy to have you just for this one video. Before we close out, I do want to shout out my members. All of my Harmless residents are scrolling on the left side of the screen right now. Thank you all very much. A mega special shout out to my nefarious residents of the channel, Blaze MBZ, The Epic Rager, One's One Up, and Daniel D. And a super ultra giga shout out to my malevolent residents of the channel. Thank you all so much. DD Teepus TTV, Aircrom Cromer, A Dark Trooper, Rosemary, and Tim Just Me Really. That's going to do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and yeah, stay evil, my residents.